And first thing we're going to start off with is our Handheld Video Pro camera. The Handheld Video Pro is a great camera for the money. It's an $1,800 point range compared to some other cameras that start at $4,500 and work their way up. I'm going to get into some of the cameras and how it works with the head, but it's a sonde, it's a locator as well. So not only are you going to see things on the display, we're going to get into being able to record, being able to take snapshots, timestamps. You're actually also able to talk into it. So you're describing the job, you're entering your camera here, you're documenting. When you do more insurance work or you do good reports and you want to include camera shots of what you heard, back yourself up in every sense, the camera is the absolute best way to do that. It also has the sonde locator built into it. So separately we sell a sonde locator. So in the head, which has the LED lights and you're going to insert it into a camera, it has a magnetic coil that we built into the head, and it's always sending out a 512 hertz frequency. That 512 hertz will penetrate concrete, dirt, clay, rock, soil, and with this it's a larger coil, so we could get in pretty deep depths and up to 15 feet deep, that we're able to locate this head with this locator wherever it may be. So if you see a blockage, if you back yourself up with a leak. One thing I want to start out with camera technology, whether it's my camera, whether it's anybody else's camera, cameras are not used to find leaks. They're used to back yourself up. So if you set your camera down a large pipe that you're hearing a leak, you could very well see it as long as you get the general location. Why cameras aren't really used to find leaks? Now, there are some cases where you will. When you have a complete pipe separation, when you have on a construction site where they posted a piece of rebar right through a pipe, I mean, that's going to be right exactly what you're seeing in the pipe. But that's not always the case. If it's at a joint where there's blue glue, black glue, we all know plumbers, we all make some messes with glue, especially when they're underground. We're not as clean as we should be. So if you have a black glue line running down a pipe, it's going to look like a crack. It does come with a dye injector, so if this is a static pipe and you have your camera on something and you think it's a crack, we do enable you to inject dye, which is going to run right next to this camera head. And in some cases you will see either flow, which you're looking for, or an actual pull into a crack, and then you could determine that that's an actual leak. So let's first get into the camera, its accessories, what it comes with and how it works. The camera comes with a 65-foot cable on the reel. It's a nice crystal clear screen. It has LED lights on the end of the camera, but let's get into the reel and using it at first. If you look in here, we'll show a close-up, there's a little hook, whether it's a plastic hook or a metal hook. Most of them are going to be metal from now on. We put that in, and when we take our cable out, our cable is wrapped up like that, and it's put nice and flat in the carry case with foam so it doesn't get damaged. But when you pull it out of the case, what you want to do is you want to take your strap out, hold on to it, because again, if this unreels, it'll do it really fast, and then it takes a lot of work to get it back on the reel, literally. So once we take this off the reel, there's this little clip in the back, and what we want to do is just ride it through the clip. So once we're in the clip, now we can ride it, we can pull it out, we can push it back in, and it rides perfect, up to the 65 feet. If you're not in that clip, you're not going to do that. So be careful, always make sure you're in the clip when you undo it. So then what we're going to do is, in the case is going to have our camera head. We have two protective caps that I took off already, and what I like to use is either a little petroleum, Vaseline, or Magic Lube type of lube on the electrical connectors. I keep a little tube in my case. So what we do is we screw this on to the end of the camera, we screw it on nice and tight, and now we're ready to turn on our camera and get it going. When we want to turn on our camera, we just go to the on battery. You could also do it on auxiliary with it plugged in, it's a pain in the neck to do that because you usually have to keep your camera somewhere and use your head somewhere else. So once we fire up, we can control our brightness, we can lower it, we can make it brighter. A little trick of the trade that I love this camera for is, especially on irrigation, when you dig down and you hear a pipe leak and you know which pipe it is on irrigation, a lot of times they bundle those lines together. So underground you dig it up and you have 5 lines running right next to each other. If you can insert this down and turn on the brightness, it will literally glow through the pipe so you know which pipe you're actually looking at and listening to. It's good that way, and it's also good to just send in and we can trace it. So when we turn on this scanner, it's going to always literally be picking up the head of this camera. Watch what happens when we turn it off. It shuts off. Whenever we turn the camera back on and you can see the screen come on, it's always going to pick that up. It's always going to know. When this gets further, it's going to dim out, and there's a sensitivity on here as well. So now let's get into a couple of more of the accessories that are actually coming in the case. It comes with a memory card, and the memory card has a slot drive where this slips in, and now you can record everything. It also has a memory card reader. So if you're USB and your computer doesn't take this card, snap it in, pop it into your USB, and now you can download the pictures, you can email them to the customer, you can save them for your own purposes. I love to save records of jobs, I love to save pics of jobs, I love to save notes of jobs, because believe it or not, they come back around, whether it's a warranty issue or whether it's a reason to go out there and make some more money. You should have records of everything that you did at every job, and if you could throw some pictures in, especially a camera pic or something like that, it would be ideal. So it comes with a sunshade. This sunshade literally just clips onto the camera, and now you're in the sunny spot. You have a little shade. To be quite honest, when you're using this in the middle of the summer, it's still pretty bright. What I like to do is I'll literally throw a towel on my head in some cases just to get enough shade, or I'll have somebody introducing my camera and I'll go into a shady spot. But this does help out considerably, and it's a good accessory to have. These are 2 pipe guides. This is a centering device for larger diameter pipe. So what you do is you screw this on, it slips onto your camera head, and it has set screws in it. And what you want to do is put it on, and now what it'll do is it won't drag the bottom of the pipe, and it'll give you a view of the whole pipe. It's going to keep you off the bottom, where a lot of times in an old pipe, a drain pipe, let's say, or even a supply line, you got a lot of dirt, a lot of dust, a lot of material that just settles to the bottom, and you're just creating a cloud. This will lift you up off the bottom. Move it slowly so that you're not creating a cloud, and you'll get used to this. It's very easy to start using, pick up and learn on your own. This is a smaller pin for smaller diameter pipe, and it'll allow you to put it on the head. We take our 2 and we tighten up our 2 ends. It also gives you a better way to make a turn in a 2.5-inch pipe or whatever you're looking at. It'll be able to make that turn because it has the rounded edge on it, and it allows you to do so. Comes with a charger. This battery in here is probably a 6-hour battery of use. I usually get 6 hours. When we're demonstrating these at the show, we run them for 8 hours at a time, and we still have 1 slot left on our battery indicator light that's going to be on there. It comes with all of this stuff in the hard carrying case to make your life easy out on the job. So now we're going to get into the actual use of the camera, all the dials, all the functions, everything that makes it tick. So what we have here is when we turn it on, when we want to charge it, we just literally put it in the charge mode. We take our adapter. Most trucks now have the inverter, so you can charge. I charge this in my truck sometimes overnight. You plug it into the back of the camera. It takes about an hour and a half for it to fully charge, and it has an overcharge protection, so you can plug that thing in all night and it's going to be fine. When you turn it on, it has a regular off mode, it has a charge mode, so make sure you put it in charge mode when you're charging it. And then it has a charge battery mode, so what you could literally be doing is charging it and using it at the same time. I don't like doing that because you're going to have you're wired to a house or you're wired to an extension cord. And this thing is made for its portability, so there's no reason to have it wired. Just make sure you charge it and that you're good to go. So when you want to turn it on, you literally go to the on screen, and what it's going to do, it's going to fire up. It's doing so now. It's giving you the welcome. It's going to have a timestamp, date stamp in there. It's also going to tell you that you can inject your card. I like to put my card in there and kind of leave it in there unless I need to pop it out. So it's going to say on there, card is not in. We're going to pop our card in, and that's going to disappear, and we're ready to do what we need to do, whether we're going to put our mic in. You know, using it, you never want to jam it. You want to just roll it out freely. It works freely as long as you're clipped in the back, and you can roll it out, send it down the pipe, and always be looking while you're doing it. It's going to tell you your microphone is on. So yeah, this has audio, which is very important. Putting it in. So at Mrs. Jones' house in Hallandale Beach, Florida, the leak hole was, we had a leak in our main from meter to house. Was able to hear the leak, was able to back it up with this. So we'll literally, and mind you, it's hard to make turns in this. It's easy to make turns in this in larger diameter plumbing. But in a lot of cases, we have just straight runs in our leak. So if it's 1.5 inches, we can send it into that pipe. We can see our actual leak, do a dye inject, or just take a picture of it. This is where we heard it, mark the ground, put it in your report, email it to the customer, or just keep it for your own records. And it's easy to do it that way. So we have an up, down, left, and right, so we can move that camera and that picture. If we're looking and we're in a tight spot and it's upside down, on the back of this camera we have a flip button, so we can take the whole picture and we can swing it upside down and look at it for what we're looking for. We have a stop, play, and our menu button. The menu button is going to allow you to scroll through and say, you want to do audio and video, do you want to do a picture with video? It's going to give you the options. It's also going to allow you to change the settings, date, times, and you have daylight savings, it doesn't pick that up. You're able to do so within that. And the record button is just that. You're going to push it and you're going to record. So on the record, if you have it in default, I always keep the microphone on. There's no reason to turn it off unless you're talking smack and don't want to be heard. However, leave it on and you can talk your way through a job. You can just push it down. You can do whatever you want, record it. You have it on the card. Now, another good feature about this camera, we can play it back right for a customer on the screen on the job. So here's the leak we heard. We backed it up with a camera. Take this to the door when you're explaining it to them. It's good to take it inside where it's nice and when you're in a shady spot to show it to the actual customer. But that's what you want to do. And play it back for the customer. Again, make sure you're okay with what you recorded because that's going to be playing back as well. So be professional about it, record what you need to do, audio what you need to do, and that's that. It has the adjustable light on it so that you can adjust the LEDs as I spoke about before. It's good to do that. If you have water in a pipe, it gets reflective, meaning so when you have your light and it's bright up, and let's say the pipe's not full of water and it's half full of water, you're going to get that light shining back at you, and it can literally hurt your eyes. So you can dim your light at that point. You never want to totally shut down the light. You're always going to be working with some light, especially when you're down inside a dark pipe. So on the back of the camera, we have a couple of menu options. Again, that's where I showed you before. You can flip the screen. You also have a video out. So if you want to play this on a bigger screen, let's say you saw something interesting, want to play it for the guys in the office instead of everybody being huddled over a little screen or a computer. I mean, you can do it directly out of here, but you could also do it from your computer to a large screen on your own. You don't need that. It has a fuse in the back. Hardly ever going to need, but it comes with a couple of extra fuses for the case. In case it drizzles, something got wet, it's going to kick it off. You just unscrew, it's got a bus fuse holder, put it back in, and everything's going to be fine. It also has an headphone jack out. So if you need to audio and you're working in a loud condition and you can't hear what's playing over the little speaker in the camera, you can just play it back for yourself and hear it on the set of headphones. You can pull it out of your leak equipment, and it's the same size jack that normally works with everything else. Again, on the back is going to be your charger input, and that's about it as far as the specifics for the camera.